Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Erica and I make videos all about making money on the side, including reselling on eBay and Poshmark, as well as making and selling candles. In today's video, I wanted to go over all about how to calculate fragrance oil percentage, as well as to find out how much wax will fit inside of the jar that you're looking to fill. So I did come up with a little bit of an equation, if you will, and this is just something that is not, I don't think it's scientifically proven. To be honest, you guys, I am not very good at math. I'm not good at science. Those were my worst subjects in school. I actually finished high school in the freshman math class. And yeah, so that just shows that you don't have to be good at math. You don't have to be doing math all the time to be able to make candles. This did take me a few hours when I was first trying to figure it out. I was sitting there and just trying to figure out the difference, because there is that weight to volume difference in wax for the ounces. So there's ounces in weight and there's ounces in volume. And when you melt down wax, so if you have a certain weight, if you have 16 ounces of wax, it does not make 16 ounces in weight or in volume. So it makes 24 ounces in volume. So I was just trying to wrap my head around exactly how to figure out, when I have a certain ounce container, how to figure out exactly how to fill that up in the correct. So the formula that I figured out, or I came up with, is 0.667 times the ounces of your container equals the amount of ounces in wax weight that you need. So I will be testing that theory with you guys today, because I learn way more visually than I do by just seeing somebody write it down on a piece of paper. So we are going to all visual today. I'm doing a complete demonstration on exactly what I'm talking about to see if my theory adds up. So before we get into actually making the candle, I did want to go over how to calculate the fragrance oil percentage for the amount of wax that you are using. This does get a little complicated, so I'm going to try to break it down as easy as I can for you guys. I wrote down some notes, so again, I'm going to try to put a picture or something in this corner just to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. So when you are thinking about adding fragrance oil to the amount of wax that you are using, we're going to use 16 ounces for this example. And to be honest, you guys, I do everything in grams, but I know that a majority of people do it in ounces. So I am going to be talking about ounces in this video to make it less confusing for you guys. But again, I really recommend grams. It's so much easier than ounces. So that's just my spiel on grams. Anyways, so we are looking at 16 ounces of weight for the wax. So when you multiply that by 10%, you get 1.6 ounces of fragrance oil, which seems right. You measure the wax, you put the fragrance oil in there. The only issue with that is now it becomes 17.6 ounces of total wax weight, which will increase the amount of liquid that you will have. So you might have an overage of the liquid when you go to pour your containers. So to alleviate that, you can subtract the 1.6 from the 16 ounces. That will give you 14.4. But the issue then becomes you're dividing 1.6 by 14.4. So when you divide number by number, that will create the percentage of that number. So when you do that, you get 11%. So if you're looking for 10%, what I typically do is, if I'm looking for 10%, I'll multiply it for 9%, or if I'm looking for 9%, I'll multiply it for 8%. So what I do in this case is I will multiply 16 by 9%. That will give me 1.44. So what I do then is I will subtract 1.44 by 16. That will give me 14.56. So 14.56 is now your total wax that you're using, and then you're putting 1.44 of ounces of fragrance oil in it, and that will give you a total of 16 ounces. So when I divide 1.44 divided by 14.56, I get 9.9 ounces of fragrance oil. And as a candle maker, I don't necessarily have to have it. It has to be exactly 10%. or it has to be exactly, you know, I'm not exact with it. It's just kind of a basic understanding of what you need to do to get it to be almost perfectly right. So I hope that made sense for you guys. I'm going to get into the demonstration right now and show you guys visually what I'm talking about with my example of my formula. Okay, so now we're going to start melting the wax. So this right here, this pile is actually soy wax, and I am measuring, or I measured out already, just so I don't want to have to do it on camera. I measured out 14.6 ounces, so I rounded up from the decimal point. That's why I don't like using ounces, you guys, because grams is so much easier. Anyways, so I'm measuring that out, and I'm going to put in, once this is melted down, I'm going to put in 1.4 ounces of fragrance oil in here. So I will get back to you guys as soon as this is melted down. Okay, so the wax is heated through all the way. I heat it to about 180 degrees. Again, that's another thing where I'm not too particular about getting it to a certain temperature anymore. So I'm going to take this out, and then now we're going to measure the fragrance oil. So this is a little more exact than my bigger shipping scale right there. So I'm going to get one of these little paper shot glasses, essentially. They're just like the little ones, and they have the wax coating to them, so it's not going to seep through. So I'm using mango papaya, and I'm going to tear this off. So we're going to do 1.4 ounces of fragrance oil. It's actually, the calculations is 1.44, so I got it at 1.43. I didn't want to try to pour too much in there and mess it up. So pour that in there, and then I'm gonna stir it all together. So I get these wooden skewers, these wooden like little kebab sticks, and I just stir it all together. Okay, so I'm done mixing this up. So I got all these 6 4-ounce tins. So we're just going to start pouring these into these containers. So that amount together combined was 16 ounces of wax. So as you can see visually, that made 6 4-ounce tins. So what that means is when you divide 16 by 24, you get 0.667. So that to me says that 0.667 is the amount of weight of wax, which will equal 1 ounce of volume of wax. So what we're going to do next is we're going to test out one of my 9-ounce jars. So these are the jars that I used to sell. So we're going to do that same method to calculate to fill up one of these jars. Okay, now we are going to test this theory with one of my 9-ounce jars. So this is a 9-ounce straight-sided jar. I went ahead and wicked it and then centered it with the clothespin, and we're going to be using this movie theater popcorn. So this is by the Flaming Candle. I got this as a sample, a 1-ounce sample months ago, and I've never tried it out. It smells exactly like buttered popcorn, so I thought I would give it a try in this fun little demonstration video. So we are going to use the formula 0.667 times 9 to figure out how much weight of wax we need to put in this jar. So what I did was I multiplied 0.667 by 9, and that equals pretty much exactly 6 ounces. So it was like 6.003 or something like that. So we're just going to round it to 6 ounces. So from there, I did exactly what I did in the last formula where I multiplied it and I found out what 9% was, because I know that that will get me closer to 10%. So 6 times 9% is 0.54. So what I did was I subtracted the 0.54 from 6. That got me 5.46 ounces. So I was able to divide 0.54 divided by 5.46, and that got me 9.9 ounces. So that got me right about that 10-ounce mark that I want for my candles. So I went ahead and measured again out 5.46 ounces of wax, and we're gonna go ahead and melt this down. Okay, so my wax is done. I heated it up to that like 175, 180 degrees. And now I'm gonna be measuring out the fragrance oil. So because it's a small decimal point, less than an ounce, I'm gonna do by grams like I'm used to. So it's 15 grams So 0.54 ounces is the same thing as 15 grams. So I'm going to measure out 15 grams on here. And this seriously smells like butter. 1.9, I'm going to try to get exactly 15. Sweet, okay, 15. So I'm going to pour this into here. I'm actually going to take the camera closer. So this is how much it filled up after pouring that in there. So it leaves a tiny little bit of space right there. So I was kind of moving the wick around, so that's why it looks like that. So this is what it looks like from my formula calculation. So there you have it. That is how I calculate how much wax to use, how much fragrance oil to use. I hope I wasn't confusing. I hope this makes sense, honestly. And I know a lot of people might be thinking that this looks short from the glass itself, but really from when I look at a lot of other people's candles that they sell, I always thought that it had to go up all the way to this area right here of the candle, but it leaves a really good area right here where it's just below the area where it starts to cave in. I filled it up too far before, and what it does is it smooths out in one area, but then there's a thin ring of wax that's still kind of on the sides from when it kind of overflowed a little bit. So with this formula, you get a really good even amount right there that you can consistently use for all of your jars. So even if this isn't completely perfect, I hope that it helps you guys and gives you a really easy formula to follow in the beginning, and you can adjust accordingly depending on your jars. And again, I really hope this helped you guys. Please let me know. And I worked really hard on it. I spent all this time making all these candles, and yeah, just trying to have a visual representation of what exactly I'm doing and how exactly I make my candles. So I hope you guys are having a wonderful day and have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.